Victoria Beckham and Nicola Peltz. This is a weird, and I will say, lads, there's some of these stories I've avoided for a long time because I just don't like them. And they've continued to pester at me. And now I'm intrigued. And this is one. This whole thing, ever since the engagement, ever since Nicola Peltz and Brooklyn Beckham got married, Brooklyn Beckham is just endlessly annoying to me. Like, there's just certain people that I just put in like a folder of celebrities that I'm like, you fucking annoy me so much that I just will not take it. If he donated millions to charity, I'd be like, oh, fucking hell, I just can't get on board.
Of course he did.
Of course, that's so him. Like, ever since his like photography book and then his stint as a chef and all this bullshit, he's such a child of fame. And that family, as we've seen on social media, the Beckhams are a very close-knit group. They're very lovey-dovey, which is lovely, right? But you really can tell he is a pampered pooch. Like, he is a grown man who is still receiving, like, is he still breastfeeding? Could be. I don't know.
I mean, I think I've heard that rumor.
Put it out there. Just put it out there. Weird, right? But so I kind of just was like, yeah, they're grand. Like, Victoria and David are cute, and some of the other kids are kind of nice and whatever. Nicola Peltz comes into the situation. She gets engaged to Brooklyn Beckham. They get married. I was like, fuck off. I can't with this now celebrity wedding. I've no interest in it. No interest in it. But I think one of the biggest misconceptions, and I definitely had it for a really long time until like the rags were literally forcing it down my throat to be like, you will consume this content, was that Nicola Peltz was kind of punching up in that, you know, she was kind of a lesser known actor, like model, like this kind of it girl, like Instagram famous, this kind of stuff. And that Brooklyn Beckham was from this like established celebrity family with such a place in celebrity culture. And that's just not the case. Like, Nicola Peltz is not kind of rags to riches here. She is the daughter of a billionaire businessman, Nelson Peltz, and model Claudia Hefner. Nothing to Hugh, I Googled. She has one sister, 6 brothers, 2 half siblings. Big owl offspring there from Nelson. Nelson in 2014 was listed as one of Forbes' 25 highest earning hedge fund managers with a total earnings of $430 million. What are hedge funds? You will find out on this podcast.
I was just about to say, I will never learn either.
No.
I've come to terms with not knowing what a hedge fund is. And I am okay with not knowing.
I'm okay. I don't need to know. I will never have one, nor will it ever impact me, I don't believe. There'll be someone now with some kind of economics degree being like, but it does impact you. I don't know how. Absolutely. If you want to fill me in, guys, the DMs are open. In 2020, Peltz organised a fundraiser in support of the re-election campaign for President Donald Trump. Just a bit of flavour there for not putting out my political allegiances.
No, we're not a political podcaster.
No, get that elsewhere too, right? Finance, politics, not here, my friend. But he later, after a certain insurrection, said, I do not know that man. I'm sorry to that man.
Come on, Mariah.
Yeah, he's like, distance myself. And in October 2021, his net worth was estimated as $1.7 billion US. So like, this is an established man.
Like, when you're making the Beckhams look poor, they're the poor family.
So poor, right? Like, so poor. And this was a part of the narrative of the wedding, was all that Nicola Peltz's family were paying for so much of it, but the Beckhams were contributing. And I was like, what are they contributing? Like, are they covering the favors? Like, what are they? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's the contribution?
They got the chair bows. They got like the bows for the chairs. They may be paid for like the sweet trolley.
Yeah.
Like
VB was inside Nike getting like 600 tea lights and jam jars and doing it in her gaff. Like, perfect.
Little bit of bow, a little bit of ribbon.
Yeah, just a little bit of DIY from the Beckhams, you know. So they announced their engagement, Brooklyn and Nicola, in July of 2020 after dating for kind of a year or so. And they were married in April 2022. And a lot of the stuff that we saw around that period was constant pictures of them all together as a family, mostly Nicola with the Beckhams. And it was this real integration of her into the family, pictures of her with Harper and pictures of her with Victoria and all this kind of stuff, like constant. And this kind of iteration that like Nicola is as close with her family and it's as important to her as it is to Brooklyn. She has a tattoo that says family, like just this really like super sweet, like we're going to be so close. It's the like linking of these two. They want to say similar lineages, even though it's not at all. And then the marriage happened and the wedding happened and this feud rumor starts to bubble. Not too unlike the Meghan Markle, Kate Middleton thing, in that as soon as the wedding was done, it was like, what's the next phase of this story? And it was the feud. And it all started from this like this concept that Nicola was meant to wear a Victoria Beckham gown for the wedding and decided apparently in the end to wear Valentino. And like they've come out since and said that that's not true. And Nicola said that that was always the plan, but that Victoria couldn't get her like people, couldn't get her people to get it ready in time, and that Victoria kind of disappeared for a few days and she didn't hear back, so she moved with the Valentino gown instead. And like, lads, to say I didn't give a fuck when this was coming out, I was like, grand, whatever, grand. But since then, it's been this constant trickle, and for me, it really kicked in last week when I saw that David Beckham had reportedly pulled Brooklyn for a bit of a chat and was like, you need to put this shit to bed. Like, we're sick of these rumors. We're sick of this constant talk about a feud. The fucking body language experts are back out trying to decide, you know, what Victoria's earlobes say about her relationship with
They're
Nicola.
very expressive, though. Very expressive.
You can tell a lot just between the lines, you know. David reportedly said to Brooklyn, we don't do this in our family, and you know we don't do this in our family. What happens next is up to you, but we are done with the drama. There was efforts made this week. Victoria was making her debut at Paris Fashion Week, and there was efforts to kind of squash it even more. Pictures were put up of them as a family where she was like, I love you all. There was clips of the three of them interacting. But since then, there has been another video that's been released of Brooklyn and Victoria having a bit of a chat, and Nicola's back is to the pair of them. She, now, in fairness, she's talking to the other one's girlfriend. Romeo?
Yeah.
What's the other one? Cruz? Romeo. His girlfriend and Grant. But then you see like Brooklyn like tugging on the back of her jeans, like obviously trying to get like her attention to be like, maybe swivel around here and join in just for a few minutes, do a little face, you know, pay a little FaceTime, bit of FaceTime. And now it's like bubbling again. There's this real, and they're really trying to squash it. And now I'm a bit interested. Have you followed this story, or do you care?
I didn't care. Like yourself, I could not be bothered. I actually quite like the Beckhams. I love Victoria Beckham. I think she's one of the most underrated, funny people. And I think David Beckham is a work of art. And I was obsessed kind of when Brooklyn got engaged, because I have never felt older, because that was a child I remember being born.
Yes.
So that was weird to me. But then I was sort of like, there's no feud, get over yourselves, it's grand. I did find the wedding dress thing weird, because the thing is, Victoria would have got a dress on that woman.
Yeah.
She was going, I don't believe them when they say, Victoria couldn't get her people involved. Victoria Beckham can mobilize people.
Yeah.
She can mobilize people. She can get if she wants a dress made, she's going to get a dress made. I do think that was quite weird that there was no Beckham brands on the wedding.
Yeah.
I do think that was not so much like, evidence of like a massive rift, but I just found it a bit strange, because she'll dress anyone at any other event that she needs.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was just not there at all, not even like, you know, the afters dress or something like that was like VB, or like a shoe, or even like the makeup or something.
Yeah. And even especially like for a business perspective, because I feel like the rumors have died down, right? But like definitely like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, there was a lot of talk about how Victoria Beckham's brand was not making money, right? And it wasn't earning as much as it used to be, and that potentially it was on a little bit of a drop. And I remember covering that, where it was really interesting that she was making a loss. She wasn't covering costs. And it was this thing of like, is she going to get investors? Is she going to shut the whole thing down? Like, how is she going to, because it was the first crack I had seen in a pretty impeccable brand that she has built from where she was even 10 years ago when she did the Spice Girls reunion, and it was like she still couldn't quite get away from that part of her history. Not that she's embarrassed or anything, but just to build something a little bit more, I don't know, long lasting, I suppose.
It's genuinely impressive, like that's like she is now designer first and Spice Girls second. Like that is a turnaround. I mean, I know Jerry has also kind of done it, but in the way that's like, oh, actually, no, not in a good way.
She doesn't have the same brand. Like, absolutely. You're still like, go on, show us the Union Jack, Jerry. Just show us.
Exactly.
But brighter red. Right, like from a brand perspective, like that's the kind of marketing that you just couldn't buy. Like you just couldn't. Like it was in Vogue. Like it's like it was everywhere. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
So that was fine, and then I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. Just like, grand, whatever. And then when they, like, Nicola had addressed it in like Grazia interview, and then I just from the pictures, because they put up so much, and you can really notice if somebody isn't there.
Yeah.
And Brooklyn does seem to have gone from family pictures to very wife guy.
Yeah.
And
everything is my wife. He annoys me for this, right? Like, so
he loves his wife.
He loves my wife.
Marriage.
My wife. my wife. It's like when people say, like, it's such an ache of mine when people are like, the mother, the sister, the brother. You're like, oh, just say their name. Just say their name. It's so annoying. But everything is my wife. Everything's my wife, which is like grand. Okay. Like he's in the bubble, like enjoy the whatever, grand. But like you say, it dropped off the face of the earth, the interactions on social media. I think Victoria was seen to have not liked a picture of Nicola's since like the honeymoon or something like that. Like it's been ages.
And as well, the one thing that I just found weird was that Nicola's family were basically on the honeymoon. And none of like, okay, fair enough. You know, it was like this big family thing. You know, like some people have like sort of friend honeymoons where like they just go to like a festival. So class, good for you. But to have the bride's family there, and then like the Beckhams, absolutely not. You're not coming on the honeymoon. You're not coming on the yacht. I found that quite weird. And I'd say that, I mean, my close personal friends, Victoria and David, I would say that they'd be pissed because that, like, then they're the sort of undesirable side of the family or something. And I doubt they have ever had to deal with that since, like, literally David Beckham signed the contract. So I'd be annoyed. I would be annoyed.
And there was also that stuff of, you know, all these posts that Nicola was making and interviews she was giving where she was talking about Brooklyn getting really close with her dad and like learning about business and like her dad taking Brooklyn under his wing as if like his parents haven't built successful companies.
Yeah, and he's not been given a skill.
And there was this headline of, you know, the new Mrs. Beckham about Nicola, which apparently did not go down well with Victoria. But I'm like, what really shouldn't have gone down well with you guys was when Brooklyn tried to claim that he came up with the idea of two surnames.
That's one of my favorite things I have ever seen. Just being we're trying to make this new cool tradition. I'm like, what, double barrel surnames? Like, absolutely. And the thing is, what you find annoying, I do also find annoying. But what I just find him an absolutely fascinating human, that he can bounce through careers because he has that sort of safety net of being a Beckham and also now the son-in-law of like a billionaire.
Yeah.
I want the confidence of somebody who can go on Good Morning America or whatever and make a bacon sandwich like you have invented the bacon sandwich. That is a level of confidence and lack of self-awareness that I can only strive for. Like, such delusion. And you know what? Let him have it at this rate. I'm like, kind of
he's truly got to be up there with one of the most annoying celebrities.
Oh yeah.
Like, he's just annoying. I just find him so, and like, it's hard. And I get that there's a pressure on kids of fame, especially if they want to stay in the spotlight, which he clearly does.
Oh yeah.
You kind of establish yourself a little bit separately to what your parents are. You know what I mean? And I kind of I imagine that I can totally imagine, Emma, that is really difficult for the rich and famous. But like, his like constant claims that it's like it would be like me taking a really good picture being like, I am a model. Like, no,
we are though. Not CF in Star Wars.
This is, yeah, I know.
Beautiful blow dry. Beautiful blow dry.
That was the most. We won't. But like, do you know his constant thing of like, I am a photographer, I am a chef. It's like, maybe just say like, I have a passion for food. I really enjoy photography.
Seeds in my curry the other night. I'm now a chef.
Fucking and get that book
make me
printed.
Feel like a chef.
There's going to be some like Emma's meals. Christmas deal guys coming your way. You can like get a book.
Scallions on something and it looks like you've made an effort and you care about yourself, even though it came out of a packet. That is my top tip. I am now a chef. Get me on Good Morning America.
You're a chef. It annoys me. And them being front row of like all these fashion shows as if all of a sudden, just because they're married, I'm to give a fuck about them. I'm like, look, I'm really happy that you're happy, because they do seem like madly in love. Like they do seem happy, right? Which is lovely. Yeah, whatever, right? But like, beyond that, I just find them such a drain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many better couples to look at and speculate about. So many.
Yeah. I just think it's like such a low level. There's no stakes.
No.
You know, it's just fine.
If they split in the morning, I'd be like, grand.
Yeah, sure. Grand. It'd be like that Alan Partridge kind of thing, just like a shrug. Like, I really don't care. Like, I'd be kind of like, oh, is Chloe Moretz back on the scene? I'd be into that. I really enjoyed that era.
I remember once I was working, you'll appreciate this, I was working the early shift on an entertainment desk on a Sunday morning. So I was on about 6 a.m, right? So I probably looked and sounded very similar to this right now, which is rough. And Chloe Moretz and Brooklyn were in Dublin that weekend, and they were at like a football match in Croker or something. They were at some GA match in Croke Park, and I just happened. I didn't even know I followed her, but she came up at the top of my Instagram stories that morning. And you know the way you'd have a quick sconce just to see was there any breaking news or anything that was going. And it was her and Brooklyn, a selfie at Croke Park, and I was like, that is gas. And it was only up a couple of hours. So I was like, grand, like celebrities in Dublin or in Ireland always is a good thing. People love to see it, right? And it was like that, like sustained our like clicks for I think like a week. Like we did such good traffic out there. So Chloe Moretz has a special place in my heart because she got me a bit of a break for a week from a pretty, like
through a Sunday shift.
She got me through a Sunday shift, which can be the fucking worst. So Chloe, this one's for you, girl.